So, welcome everybody. We're excited to be here with you today at the TravelPerk session, and we're here to talk to you about the magic of IRL. IRL means in real life. So, I don't know about you, Huw, but I actually think we look much better in real life.
You certainly do, that's for sure.
So, just to introduce myself, I'm Sourbron. I'm the Chief People Officer at TravelPerk. This is actually my second week in the company. I'm very excited to be in the organization. And obviously, as a people person, I really believe in the power of human connection. So hopefully I'm going to demonstrate that today.
We're very glad that you've joined us, by the way. It's been a long time coming. I'm Huw Slater. I'm the COO at TravelPerk. I've been with the company 4 years now, and I've been in the tech industry long enough to lose all of my hair. So before we get into the session, actually, let me ask you a couple of questions, right? So who here feels more energized having been at SASA for the last couple of days, right? Pretty good energy here, even with the drum and bass music going on in the background. Who here feels a deeper connection with their colleagues, with their customers, with their partners from being here? Yeah, that's why you're here, right? So clearly you know that there's some magic from being in real life, right? You know it in your core that that exists. What we're going to do today, over the next sort of 10, 15 minutes, is put some structure around that, okay? Sally will spend a few minutes defining what in real life is. We'll give you some tangible examples, some facts about the impact an in real life strategy can have on your business. And then we'll wrap up by giving you some 5 ideas on things you can implement in your business to bring those benefits to life. Sound good? Over to you.
Great. So let's define IRL. Basically, it's when you choose to meet in real life, because the value of actually meeting in person goes beyond the digital experience. Now, as you see, this is the second iteration of the definition. The first was actually associated with the gaming industry as well as the virtual reality industry. Now, it's fundamentally shifted because the way in which we actually do work has changed. And that's changed because of 2 reasons. Firstly, the digital revolution. Just look here today how many amazing SaaS organizations are present. And secondly, of course, the global pandemic. So the way in which work gets done has fundamentally shifted. And we're actually still designing and thinking around what that looks like, whether you are a hybrid organization, whether you're a digitally first organization, you are thinking around how do we collaborate as employees? How do we connect to our company strategy? So all of this is being redefined. And what we believe is that there needs to be an in real life strategy in any organization to create purpose-led experiences through moments that matter. And I'll come back to that point a little bit later. So IRL actually goes beyond company culture. And culture is often defined as a very fluffy topic. Believe me, in HR, I'm always being challenged by my business leaders. Talk to me about culture. Sally, give me the metrics, give me the data. But what I want to share with you today with Huw's help is actually, if you get your IRL strategy right, you will be able to really support your organization in how it attracts, how it retains, how it drives creativity and productivity across the way in which you work, and ultimately impacting your bottom line. Everything that we do has to have a return on investment.
Yeah, that's right. So we started off before where you already feel that magic, that there's real impact from in real life. And we will use 2 very specific examples and a lot of data for you to back that up, because it is about impact, right? That's what we're here for, not the fluffy stuff. So we'll talk about the talent and attraction, right? Huge challenge in our industry in particular, right? It's the SaaS market. We've got to get this right. And then also about the creativity and productivity. And we'll use some hard data over the next few minutes to show you the money, right? It's all about that impact, about the impact on the bottom line. So Sally's going to start with the talent attraction example.
Yes, so how do we actually define in real life from a talent attraction perspective? What we're actually seeing particularly with the war on talent, the great resignation. Those are all topics that everyone's hearing. It's even more critical then that we are tapping into the talent pools that are available to us. But what we're seeing actually in that talent pool, 90% of individuals are looking for hybrid working. So they want to understand, what does it actually mean to be hybrid? And that's where we need to be purposeful with regards to the in real life expectation. Why is that important? Well, we have seen over the course of the pandemic that engagement scores have dropped significantly, 80%. Engagement is critical in an organization. Employees want to have that connectivity. That's what we've been reading about and citing. What we're also seeing now, as we've shifted into this new way of working and bringing people back to offices, is that they do want to come back. They do want to experience 1 to 2 days a week in the office because they want to have that social interaction and they want to have that collaboration. And what we're also seeing is that they actually want to have that purpose-led experience of when they come to the office. So what are they going to be doing? Is that a QBR? Is that a company all hands? Is that a learning and development opportunity? So again, we need to be defining what that experience is. And of course, if you don't define that experience, there is a risk to attrition. And we all know the cost of attrition, and you can see a beautiful number here of 1 trillion. But certainly that's something that any organization is really considering. If you've just got people through the door, you don't want to then lose them 6 months later. And ultimately, when you piece all of this together, the most important figure, as far as I'm concerned, is engagement. So what you can see here is 21% more profitability when a company has high engagement scores. So for me, Huw, I think that really demonstrates why it's so important.
Absolutely. The second example we were going to give is around productivity and creativity, right? You're all in innovative businesses, so this really matters. I tell you what doesn't drive productivity and creativity is a bums on seats in real life strategy, right? Nobody wants to be told categorically you have to be here, sit down. It's a controlled process. So the way we think about it is about what is your job, right? And everyone's job is unique. What is your company trying to achieve? And then try and use the right tool to achieve it, okay? So it's a tool and not a rule is coming to the office. So let's think about this. You have the in real life on the right-hand side, and you have the remote on the left-hand side. You have focused work, you have unfocused work. We each move between these every day, every week, and the job of the strategy is to try and find out and maximize the right tool for the problem that sits in front of you. Sorry, I've got a fly attacking me. On the next slide, this brings it to life. Video calls are not a good tool to drive ideation, right? That's been proven over and over, but it's still something that people are using. So you need to find the right tool for the opportunity and the job at hand. We can go further. We look at the data. 74% of Gen Zs are more effective when they have face-to-face time. We also see the stat that 20% more ideas are generated when you're in real life. These are huge numbers. So you have to be thinking of that portfolio of tools that you've got, including in real life. And in the end, the net result of these, on the next slide, is that we have 12% more growth. That's a huge amount, on top of the 20% more profitability we were talking about earlier on. So getting this right is critical for your business's success. So how about we talk about some tactics on how we can deliver this? Do you want to go first?
I will, and this is obviously very real for me. Being new in the organization, this is the first thing that I'm actually defining with my leadership team, is what is our IRL strategy. So this is a great framework that I'm already using. The first one is actually to be transparent. And this goes back to that point around sort of how do you attract talent. They want to understand, what does it mean? What does it mean to be hybrid? How am I going to work in that environment? How do I then connect with my colleagues and get a great opportunity to understand, to learn, to experience and feel the culture of that organization?
The second one we'll talk about is give employees a voice. This isn't about consensus building, right? Not everyone has the context they need to really build a good strategy. but it is about allowing people to reflect on how they can bring their best selves to work, how they can be most creative, most productive when they're in the office. Helping people reflect on that so you can build a strategy is really important. So take all of that input from your employees and use it to build your plan.
I love that inclusivity. Great point. So the third is setting IRL guidelines. Now, what we mean by this is actually sort of defining almost a social contract between a manager, an employee, and their team. And that social contract helps people understand how they're going to connect, how they're actually going to work together. And it's as simple of, do we use Zoom? Do we meet in the office like once a week? We have our team meeting this day, that day, et cetera, et cetera. So that social contract is really important to drive the expectations around what they're doing.
The fourth one is about this purpose-led experience. Even fully remote companies like Hotjar, are bringing their employees together. And it's what are you doing when you're coming together? You might have an on-site week, once a quarter, but what is it you're doing there? Right? So those purpose-led experiences, a bit like an experience like this, it has a reason. You have to think about that. Is it an off-site? Is it for creation? Are you doing something for the community? Is it charitable? Whatever it is, creating a sense of belonging when you bring people together is critical as part of your strategy.
And last but not least, when you're bringing people together, what is the experience in the workplace? So organizations are really redefining and reimagining the workspaces that they have within their offices. And maybe it's not an office, maybe it's somewhere else, or whatever environment that they're working in. But hopefully, organizations are thinking differently about that workspace.
Absolutely. So hopefully these 5 points were just little helpers along your journey. It's really important that you think about this. As I say, impacts the bottom line considerably. So be transparent, give people a voice, set those guidelines, organize purpose-led experiences. It's not a bums-in-seats strategy. And lastly, think about the environment, the IRL spaces that you're going to use to make this real. So we've defined IRL 2.0. We've given you hopefully some real practical data points to focus your mind, to let you know that this is really important for you and your businesses. And last but not least, hopefully a few hints and tips on how to bring this to life.